Hello, my friend, and welcome. This is the Back to Me podcast, and I am Heather, and I am super excited that you are here. And I just want to let you know that you're going to hear some tips and some tricks, some ideas, all to help you live your happiest and healthiest life. It is called Back to Me because when you are taking care of yourself, then you can take better care of others. And my goal is to make the world a better place. This is Wellness Your Way. I am really happy that you're here. Your true self is waiting. So it is time to step up and thrive. We're trying something new. I'm pretty excited by how this is all going to work. Hello, podcast friends. This is Heather. This is the Back to Me podcast. And we're trying a new platform today because we like to try new things here. And you just roll with the punches. When things aren't working, you figure out a way around it. And today is one of those people who's being patient and we're rolling with the punches, Kristine Best. And I love the wellness strategist because it basically says right there everything that you're doing. But I know there's way more than that you're actually doing. Kristine, welcome. Third time. The listeners don't know this. This is the third time we've tried to do this over months. So, yay, Kristine.
Technology. Yeah, technology can be such a challenge, right? It's great to
And
be here, Heather.
like, let's
Thank you
think
very
about
much
it. You are
for
on the
having
other
me.
side of the world, right?
I am. I'm in Australia.
Yeah, and I'm in Canada. So look at how amazing technology is that we can actually talk, even though you're on the other side of the world.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty good quality for that distance.
yeah, I'm always curious, and I actually don't remember what you told me last time, so it's fresh for all of us. What drew you into being a wellness strategist?
It's a kind of a long story, but I will abbreviate. I guess my whole life has had various pillars that were wellness orientated, and it influenced me, I guess, to go down that path. So at 7 years of age, I read something really amazing in a children's encyclopedia that my parents gave me. And I guess they gave me that because I was inquisitive and asked lots of questions. So they gave me this set of kids' encyclopedias. And I read about the qualities of blood and its functions. And it blew me away because it was telling me how that had red blood cells and white blood cells, and it was to do with your immune system and carrying oxygen, and it was made up of iron, and that for a 7-year-old was quite, I don't know, just amazing. And so I could even remember that what a page looked like. So it was quite impactful at the time. And then at 10, I healed myself from asthma. So
I remember you talking about that.
people are probably wondering, well, how the heck does a 10-year-old child heal itself from asthma? Well, I was flipping through this magazine. I was waiting for my mum to come inside, and it was on the table, and I was just idly flipping the pages, not expecting to find anything of any particular interest. But all of a sudden, there was this thing, and it went, whoa, what's that? I ripped the pages out of the magazine, took them to my room, and I read everything on that page, and I followed the instructions that were in it. And so there were deep breathing exercises and postural things and breathing things, and I did them every day and got rid of my asthma, and I've never had it back. So that taught
as a
me
10-year-old,
at the time.
like not a lot of 10-year-olds would do that, right?
No, but if you had
Not a
asthma
lot of
and you saw
10-year-olds will
something
take
about
that.
breathing, you would be very interested in it. So
Right?
it just appealed to me very, like hugely impacted me at the time, caught my attention. And so I just followed what it said in that article. And so I just thought, well, if you've got something wrong with you, you can cure it. You can heal yourself. And over the years, I became interested in nutrition and posture. And there weren't any courses that I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be a physiotherapist. And then when I was in my 30s, I found a course it was a sports science course, and it was very practical, and I was really physically active, and it had, anatomy, kinesiology, physiology, biomechanics, all those sorts of topics, but it also had some psychology-based topics as well, and also things like motor skill learning, and all of those things were very, right along the lines of what I wanted to study. So I did an associate diploma, and then I did the degree, in sports science, and I opened my own business. And that's how I got into wellness. There was always a theme of wellness throughout my life, because I just had this interest in vitamins and minerals and healthier eating and being physically active. It was just part of my life. And so I guess I wanted to teach other people, because I realized that a lot of people were not well and were not probably going to be well into their future because they weren't doing the right things now. And I could see how that was going to influence the quality of people's life. And in the course of all that, because I was also interested in posture and I'd done biomechanics at uni, I actually started to analyse people's posture. And I had a grid, and I did posture analysis and correction exercises, and I taught them awareness things because I realised they had really bad habits. And so when I trained these people, they got better. And a lot of these people had been to the doctor, the physio, the chiropractor, naturopath, all these different people seeking treatment for their condition, and they weren't getting better. So when they came to me, I wanted to make them well. My focus was never on money. Yes, I was in a business, and of course I needed money to live, right? But my focus was getting these people well, and I would start them off on once a week, and then wean them off to fortnightly, monthly, and then they just came when they felt like they needed a tune-up, basically. But I wanted people I empowered people to be well, and so I got my referrals from those people, and that's how my business grew. And so I had doctors, physios, chiros, referring people to me, psychologist, a nurse at the local hospital. I had a lot of professional people referring people to me because I was getting results. And they'd go back to the doctor and tell them what I'd achieved. And so I found it very rewarding to help people be well. And life happened, and I had to close the doors on that business.
Even though you were helping all of those people, yeah.
Well, life happened. I just couldn't, your relationship crumbles, and I'd moved from Sydney to the Central Coast of New South Wales. And so it just wasn't a viable option to continue on. So I closed the doors of the business, and I couldn't sell it because I was the business, basically.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, I'm not going to achieve all those goals that I had originally set. And I had a few big goals that I wanted to achieve. I was quite disappointed about it. I wanted to change the system because the system wasn't working as well as it should.
That's a big goal.
It was a big goal. And I really wanted to improve the system so that everybody was going to benefit. And I could see that if if the system wasn't so overwhelmed with people who shouldn't be there, then the system would work better. And because there's a backlog of people who need treatment in the health system, like in hospitals, there's a waiting list. And sometimes people were waiting a year or more for an operation that if they'd been seen sometime earlier, they wouldn't have needed it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just gradually got worse and worse and worse. But if it had been treated properly in the first place, those people could have had a better quality life and they wouldn't have needed to be in the system. And the system would have been there for people who needed, you know, critical things like heart attacks and you know,
cancers
really
and all
serious,
the, yeah.
really serious accidents and things. Those people could actually get in and get the treatment they need straight away. And yeah, I just could see that if the system treated the root cause instead of the symptom, then everything would work better and everyone would win.
So you closed your business and you moved and you had this big goal to change the system. And I know you didn't actually give up on your goal.
Well, no, because it's really weird how that happened. I raised my son on the Central Coast, and when he was about, I don't know, 17, 18, he came home one day and said to me, "Mum, what's for dinner?" I said, I don't know, whatever you're cooking, because I'm going out. See ya. And I went off and I did music, and I mean, I'd taught him enough to survive, right? But
yes.
It was time for him to step up a little more. And I decided this is my time now. You're on your way, and I'm going to do what I always wanted to do, which was music. And
so you wanted to change
the
system and do music.
Well, I just thought that goal had gone. I still, at this point, did not realise I was going to be able to achieve it. It was just one of those disappointing things that I thought, no, it's never going to happen. But in the course of me doing music, it put me in touch with a coach who took me through my values, my dreams, my goals, all that kind of stuff. And I did leadership with him, engagement, productivity, and a whole bunch of stuff. And in the course of that, I realized that I should be doing my wellness stuff again. So 22 years later, I embark on building my business online and designing courses that I could run virtually or in person. And I could do 1 day, 4 day, or I could split them up over several weeks and months. And
is it still on the alignments kind of strategy?
How do you mean? Sorry?
Like the physical, like the courses that you're teaching for wellness now, is it still trying to get people's posture correct, or have you expanded?
It's all about prevention. It's all about empowering them with knowledge and strategies that they adopt and they then apply. It still comes down to the person having to do some changes in their life, right? And to do the actions that are necessary. But I give them what they need to be able to do it. And so I don't just give them a bit of information and send them on their way. What I do is I start by helping them with their goals and mentally preparing them, because people have goals, but they still have beliefs that they can't do it, right? And that's those beliefs that hold them back. And so I take them through a mindset subject and start the ball rolling. And if that's not enough, then people can come for, one-on-one sessions with me. But I give them enough that they can embark on their wellness journey with a bit more confidence. And then they can apply those strategies and the information that I that I impart to them in the seminars. So in the course of doing that, I realised that I would really like to be a speaker, because then I can speak to an audience of more people and I can inspire those people to embark on that journey that they secretly want to embark on, but didn't realise they needed to be more proactive. And I just open up that awareness to help them, because people don't realise chronic conditions don't just happen overnight, they happen over a long period of time, and it relates to habits and behaviours that they have, bad habits and behaviours that they have, and that they simply need to, become aware of those things so that they can stop doing them and replace them with healthier habits and behaviours. And when they do that, their body will heal itself. The body's made to heal itself. You just have to give it the right circumstances. And so I've always been about trying to help people develop those right circumstances in their life. So people think, oh, I'm getting old, I've got some aches and pains. That just goes with old age. But it doesn't have to be like that. And so it's about
Do you have an
people's
example of stuff that you
misconceptions.
give to people? Yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
I mean, I
An
know
example.
there's lots, like I'm just thinking of the things that people will come into people's minds about the things that they need to do to be healthy. But I think that your approach is probably different. So I was wondering if you had an example of the kind of things that helps people to shift the health of their body.
Well, first of all, they have to become aware.
Just something simple.
Yeah, first of all, so first, when I had my physical business in Sydney, because I don't have a physical business now, I just do it, in a seminar or an in-person event or something like that. But when I had my clinic, I used to analyse people's posture, and then that would tell me that they had rounded shoulders, they had an increased lordosis or an increased kyphosis, like scoliosis and things. So that told me then the kind of things that they're doing, because they're training their body to be like that. So then there are exercises that can counteract that.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, you have to train the person to realise the things that they're doing so that they can, because it takes about 3 months to change a bad habit and establish a better habit. And so I would change their perception of what they were doing, because they didn't realise. And I teach people to stand properly, and they'd go, oh, I feel like I'm leaning backwards, or, something like that, because they were hunching forward, right? And so people's perception changes over a period of time because they're training themselves to be like that. So I train them through various, like awareness exercises, but also specific exercises that will work that part of the body that needs to be strengthened, and exercises to stretch other parts of the body that need to be stretched. And so I just put together a program according to what they need, and that's all based on my knowledge of biomechanics, and also the posture, comparing the ideal posture to their posture. And so you've got to find the deviations, and that tells you what muscles are not working properly. So that's the kind of thing I did. And I would also advise them on nutrition, because that was also a factor. If they weren't looking after their diet, they had to change a few eating habits. And just tweaking that part of their lifestyle. I'd
Did
also
you ever
give
find
them
that
a
some people
handout.
it was just too much for them? Did you ever find some people it was just like too much, I can't do it?
No, never.
No.
Because
That's
I worked
awesome.
with the person. I worked with the person.
Right.
There was in all of my 20 years, there were 2 people that I didn't want to work with. One was a woman who all she did was focus on her problems and didn't ever want to, and I'm sure you've come across these people, they don't really want to change. The focus is, oh, I'm unwell and don't you feel sorry for me? And I couldn't change that part of her. So I referred her to somebody else. And there was one other person. He was coming for a couple of probably 2 months or something. And I said to him one day, are you doing those exercises that I gave you to do? Because you're not getting well enough quickly enough. You should be a lot better. And he goes, no, I don't do them because I come here and you do it for me. And I said, oh, no, it doesn't work like that in my clinic. I said, you're a bad advertisement for my business. And I said, and I don't want you to come here anymore. You'll have to find someone else to treat you. And I sent him on his way.
Right.
Because I want people to be well. And I don't just do it because he was draining me. I was working, wanting him to be well. He wasn't getting as well as I wanted him to be because I knew he could be more well than what he was. And he wasn't doing the exercises. And so he wasn't interested enough in his own wellness to be a valued client.
He wanted someone else to do it for him, right?
Yeah, and
he just wanted you to do it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work. Yeah, exactly. So there are only those 2 people.
Into wellness, right? You went back into wellness still with that big goal to change the system.
Well,
while you were singing.
I was singing and playing my guitar and percussion instruments, my congas. I love my congas. And I was having fun doing that. And I started to build my wellness courses and put them all together, which I've done. And I did that over from December 22, I started doing that to 23. So it's coming up for 2 years. So I've set a really good base, and I've built a good reputation and credibility out there, in the marketplace. And I've set up some really good relationships with business groups because I want to get into also helping business people with their workers so that they're more productive, so that they're more well. They don't take as much sick leave and things like that.
Right.
So that's another area I wanted to get into. So what was what was the question I was answering then? I got distracted. I went down another.
Are you taking over the world yet? I'm trying to see where. So I know that you. I know it's still your goal, and it's still your desire for people to be well. And
that's right.
Is it now that you're going to go and change the system, or you're going to change the people, and they're going to change the system?
Well, when I had my business, I knew I wanted to take my business to a higher level. It wasn't to be at that time. But now, as I've built my business, I realise that I can achieve that goal that I had all those years ago. And I still want to change the system because everybody can still benefit. And, people are given drugs as a Band-Aid, and drugs are not the answer because they can create secondary sort of side effects and they're not necessarily needed. The people that I saw in my business were taking NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories and stuff like that, and they didn't really need them. They needed the root cause to be dealt with. So if the root cause is dealt with, then the body has a chance to start healing itself. The body's always trying to heal itself, but it can't heal itself because the problem is still affecting the body and dragging it down, so it can't build itself back up again. Whereas if you get rid of the root cause, the body can, actually improve again. So I would love to put programs in place in the community and in the hospital system, and get doctors on board and a whole bunch of people, because look, everybody can still benefit. There's always going to be people who get sick. There's always going to be people who get injured. So there's still going to be enough to go around everywhere, but it will relieve the backlog in the health system, and the public are going to get better quicker. And so they're not going to be a drain taking sick leave from work and not being productive in life. Everything's going to start to work better. Everything will be more effective and efficient, and there won't be the drain on our society.
Right.
And that's my vision.
So are you training people to help other people? Because I see you as like, if you're the only person who can do this.
I'm not the only one. There are a lot of people like me. There are a lot of people like me, and I've joined various organisations and associations online, and I've been to a few events and met up with some people. But I started to do an MBA in January this year because I wanted to make sure that my business was going to be able to, or that I was able to take my business where I wanted to go, because I have visions of setting up my business, and probably once I've set up my model and I've established myself, because I need a platform as well. I've got to have a voice, and the bigger the platform, the better. So that's what I'm working towards. Mm-hmm. And then once I've set up one model, I can either franchise it or do whatever I want with it, or sell a model to different people and set it up however I want to.
And that's
at the
a really
that's
big, it's a beautiful goal, though. I mean, think about if you created even just a country where, because even here, there's backlogs in the healthcare system. And I think COVID really took all the healthcare systems took a big whack from that. And if you could make it so people didn't get sick to begin with, that would be so life-changing.
And that's such a possibility. It's achievable for people. I mean, not everybody's going to, jump on board, but most people want to be well into their future and will actually put the effort in now. It's just getting people to realise they need to do that.
And they definitely, if they get sick, they're going to pay attention.
Well, yeah, that's it. But see, I want to get to people before they get unwell, because it's harder to come back from unwellness. Once you're down low, you've got to claw your way back, and that's not always an easy road back. So if people, their bodies were more resilient, they looked after them, they wouldn't have the aches and pains, they wouldn't need as many drugs, they could take natural preparations, tonics and things like that are going to help them, whereas drugs, the man-made drugs, they're actually destructive to our bodies and cause secondary problems. And so, and they are a Band-Aid approach. They are not a cure. A lot of people go to the doctor thinking that they're going to get cured by these drugs that they take, and they're not. They're a Band-Aid. And they can actually, for example, if you take NSAIDs and you've got a knee problem and you've got pain in your knee, now your knee is telling you there's a problem here. You need to do something about it. And people take NSAIDs or some kind of pain-killing drug. They're going to go and say, I've got no pain, and then they're going to actually do more damage to the knee, right? And that's what happens. And so they're better off not to take those NSAIDs or pain-killing drugs, but to actually go and investigate what is going on in there, because quite often it's a simple muscle imbalance, and that can be easily fixed. It just means they have to do a few exercises and put a bit of effort in.
And I know, so you also spoke Yeah, you also spoke at that international conference recently. What was so tell us a little bit about the conference, what you spoke about,
Oh, I
and
haven't spoken.
can people
I
go and
haven't
watch
spoken
it
there yet.
still?
I
Oh, you're
haven't
going to speak.
spoken yet. That's coming up on the 21st
Okay.
of this month. So we're at the 19th in Australia. It'll be the 21st in America. It'll be the 22nd when I actually speak here. Because time zones do your head in, right?
Of October or November?
No,
What
October.
month is
Yeah,
it?
just in a few days' time.
October,
This
okay.
is October. Yeah. So in a few days' time, I'll be speaking at that international conference, and that's it's on
And what's the name of the
spirituality and
conference?
mental health. It's called the Global Virtual Summit 2024, but it's in conjunction with, I don't know if you've heard of IDIAS .org, IDIAS.org, but there's an international conference on spirituality and mental health. And it was the in-person event was supposed to be held in Miami, Florida, but because of the hurricane there, it was cancelled and it's been put off till next year, June, July next year. But the virtual summit is still going to be held. And they've had a bit of reorganising to do in that regard, but there's about 80 speakers going to be speaking virtually. And I feel very privileged to be included in that. And I'm going to speak on the topic of
That's amazing.
wellness in totality. And of course, I will focus on spirituality and mental health, but I also want to point out that wellness is the total you. It's not just mental health, and it's not just diet and exercise. There is much more to wellness than just those few things. So I'm going to point out that in my talk.
I like that,
And
wellness
then,
in totality. Is that where welltality came from?
yeah, kind of, yeah, yes.
The kind of.
Well, welltality and vitality, right? Wellness and vitality,
Oh,
welltality,
yeah.
but also wellness in totality. Yeah. And that is my vision. Wellness in totality globally. Yeah, that's my vision.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And they can find you. I'm going to put it into the show notes for sure. They can find you. I guess everything they need to find about you is in your link tree.
It is in
Correct?
my link tree. Yes, correct. Yeah. Well, almost
Yeah.
everything.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. You can find your way to find Kristine over in her link tree and then just dig around, right? Dig around and find the good juicy bits.
They'll find
And
out what platforms they prefer. You know what
they
I
can
mean?
contact you there as well yeah. And they can
Yeah,
find
they
a way to
can.
contact you there if they want to have a conversation with you about their own wellness, right?
Absolutely. There are forms they can fill in on my
Yeah.
website for specific things that they might need.
Amazing.
And they can DM me on the other platforms, direct
Beautiful.
message me for those
Well,
people who don't know
Kristine,
what DM
I
means.
think that your goal, yeah. Oh, I think hopefully if they're listening to a podcast, they probably know what a DM is. Let's cross our fingers. So, before we, yeah, before we head off, do you have a final word of wisdom for the audience?
Yep. I would like to mention the fact that I'm involved in a charitable project with two other Australian business people. And our charity is called LIFE, which stands for Legacies, Impact, foundation and enterprises. So what that means is we have a foundation that will kickstart a project to help a struggling community, like in Africa, for example. That's where we're starting. And in Uganda, around the town of Luwiro. And so we're going to set up a sustainability farm, and we also will help them with a coffee bean project, and that will then bring them income, and we build the farm over a period of time, and that farm will provide jobs, fresh produce, jobs for people, and also build accommodation for widowed women and orphaned children. And it will also build a medical centre, latrines, because they don't even have latrines. And so, yeah, we're working with an organisation over there now to build that. And when we have that model, we can replicate that in different parts of the world. So people will be able to donate to that. We've just got to the stage where we've got a bank account, an ABN, and we're working with Stripe at the moment to establish, a way for people to donate. And so that all that information will be findable on my different platforms. So I'm excited
it's on
about
your link
that.
tree as well?
No, it's not there yet, because we're still putting a few things together. But I just want people to know that, it feels really good to help others, and any profits that my business makes will go towards, these sorts of projects to empower other people. And people can get involved in these sorts of projects as well. Anyone who's interested in helping build a farm, a sustainability farm, and a medical centre, they can contact us and they can come in to the project as we need them.
Amazing.
People can contribute in lots of different ways in this life, and it feels good as an extension to your normal life. Because if you just live your normal life and you're just doing this stuff for yourself, it's kind of selfish. But when you actually extend your life to helping others, it adds to your wellness.
Definitely. That's awesome. That's amazing. So friends, go to Kristine's Linktree, subscribe to all of her things, sign up for things, share, call, flood Kristine with her wellness, and you will flood yourself with wellness, right?
Right.
Thank you so much, Kristine.
Oh, thank you, Heather, for having me.
That's so great. Have an amazing day. I know it's have an amazing day. It's already tomorrow, but where you are, but
it's a beautiful day.
We will
and
talk
I'm going to go for
soon.
a walk.
Yes.
I'm going to go and get myself a coffee up at the. Yeah, I'm going to get a coffee up the cafe and have a chat with the girls up there.
There you go.
Then come back and get into my day.
Okay,
Thanks
friends
for having
in
me,
podcast
Heather.
land. Yeah, absolutely. Subscribe, like, share, and make sure you take care of your own wellness, right? That's why this is called Back to Me. Thank you. I will see you next time.
Have a great day.
Hello, my friend. I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you found it useful and you're like me and you want to help others, please share this, comment, like, subscribe, all of those things that will help this podcast to be found by more people. And if you found it useful, there's a chance that someone else will find it useful as well. If you ever have any questions, I am here to answer your questions. I would love to help you. My direct email address is info@heatherstewart.coach. You can also find me at heatherstewart.coach. And if you go over to my website, you will find copies of the podcast. You'll find the link to my Instagram and my Facebook. And I do have a personal request because I do want to help as many people as I can with these podcasts. So if you could give me a review, and my friend, I would love if you gave me a good one. if you could share this, if you could send it out into the world, I would truly appreciate it. I hope that you have an amazing day. I hope that you are finding your way back to wellness by getting back to me. Take care, my friend. Be well, and we will see you again next time.